Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for making time for this pre-convention hearing. I see that we are about 81 people, but we'll probably be more before the evening is out. And I'm so grateful for your commitment to the church, for your commitment to our neighbors in all the ways that you are proclaiming the gospel in your local settings, and for your commitment to make time to be in Bangor on Saturday, the 25th of October. For those of you who have been delegates or who are ordained and have been to convention before, this is our practice to gather for what's called a pre-convention meeting. We do this primarily so that we can be as prepared as possible, and so that we can also connect with each other in our regional areas, and that we can be particularly clear about what we need to do with regard to particular resolutions and the budget, etc. So this is a working meeting, and we have a lot to cover, and we are committed to ending at 8:30. Today, the church commemorates a deceased bishop, Samuel Isaac Joseph Sierszewski. He was born in Lithuania to Jewish parents and converted to Christianity before immigrating to the United States, and was first a Presbyterian and then became an Episcopalian. He studied at the General Seminary and was particularly able with languages. Long story short, he ended up going to China to translate the Bible into Mandarin and parts of the prayer book. He eventually became the Bishop of Shanghai, although he was ordained at Grace Church in New York City. So must have been a long travel, long ship from Shanghai back to New York and New York back to China. He got very sick in his middle years and had to resign being a bishop, but he continued to translate and ended up removing to Tokyo, where he learned Japanese, and spent the rest of his years every day typing with two fingers because much of his fingers were paralyzed, and he died in Tokyo in 1906. He's buried there along with his wife, who was an ardent supporter. So today we are grateful for Bishop Sierszewski and for all of the ways that he translated scripture into languages other than English. Let us pray. Holy God, send your Spirit to us tonight, that as we speak and listen, as we focus on the needs of your church, remind us that you are God and we are not. Equip us with everything that we need to proclaim the gospel of your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name we pray. Amen. Friends, I'd like now to introduce Sherry Quint, who's the accounting manager, and she is going to walk us through the proposed budget for 2026. Thank you so much, Sherry, not only for tonight, but for all the ways in which you love us and keep us on the straight and narrow.
Thank you, Bishop. Susan, can you put up my slideshow up?
Oh no, you're gonna have to sing.
No, nobody wants that.
I think Susan is trying to find it. But truthfully, Sherry and I do sing to each other in the office quite often. We make up songs. They're really good. We have a couple hits on our hands. Here we go.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. I am Sherry Quint, the accounting manager for the Diocese of Maine, and I'm pleased to present the Diocese of Maine 2026 proposed operating budget. A lot of work went into this with our treasurer and the finance committee, and as well as Brother Jay Boggs from Cornerstone. I certainly couldn't have put this all together without him. Can we move to slide 2? This budget reflects our continued commitment to faithful stewardship while supporting the ministries of our congregations, summer chapels, Camp Bishopswood, and other diocesan entities such as St. Elizabeth's Essentials Pantry, Bridging the Gap, and many others across Maine. We have achieved a balanced budget that provides Bishop Brown with the resources needed to facilitate the mission and ministry of the church in Maine. This includes funding for staff, consultants, and volunteers who serve our diocese with dedication and excellence and help facilitate the kinds of ministries our congregations feel called to do. Next slide. Hopefully, most of you have been able to look over the detailed budget on our website. This slide shows the summary of the major categories of income and expenses for the 2026 budget. Next slide. One of the most significant aspects of this budget is our 51% increase in strategic congregational support, adding $50,000 to directly assist our parishes. This substantial investment demonstrates our commitment to strengthening congregational vitality across the diocese. I'm also pleased to report that we have held staffing and benefit costs steady from the previous year, even while incorporating some new positions. This reflects our commitment to operational efficiency while ensuring we have the personnel needed to serve our mission. Next slide. Our income structure remains stable and diversified. Assessments from congregations continue to provide the foundation of our revenue at 68%, with investment distributions from the trustees of diocesan funds contributing 30% and other sources making up the remaining 2%. Regarding assessments, we have maintained levels at approximately last year's rates. Assessment amounts are calculated based on each congregation's 2024 normal operating income using the formula of 5% of the first 10,000 plus 15% of that balance. Our trustee investment income is calculated conservatively at 4.75 for both fixed and equity investments, ensuring sustainable long-term support. And I do want to note that with the investments, it has gone up a little bit on the fixed side, gone up from 2% up to 4.75. Next slide. Our 2026 budget allocates resources thoughtfully across our mission priorities. Compensation and benefits account for 55% of expenditures, reflecting our investment in qualified staff. Canonical responsibilities represent 16%, ensuring that we meet our obligations to the Episcopal Church and our province. Congregations and clergy support receives 11%. General and administrative costs are held to 10%. Faith formation programs receive 5%. And justice and outreach initiatives account for 3%. Next slide. This budget supports robust programming across all areas of diocesan life. Ministry initiatives, we remain committed to justice and outreach through the support of the Maine Council of Churches, the Commission on Justice and its councils addressing racial justice and climate justice, the Episcopal Peace Fellowship, the Committee on Indian Relations, Mission Center grant reserves, and both domestic and international poverty grants. Next slide. In faith formation, we continue funding youth ministry programs and events, Camp Bishopswood, the Christian Education Collaborative, Adult Formation, Education for Ministry, and Clergy Formation. Next slide. Our congregation and clergy support includes transition ministry, the ordination process for both deacons and priests, the Commission on Ministry, new initiative grants, and the enhanced strategic congregational support that I mentioned earlier. Next slide. We will fulfill our canonical responsibilities through assessments to the Episcopal Church and Provincial Synod, travel and meeting expenses for General Convention and the triennial Episcopal Youth Event, Diocesan Council and Standing Committee meetings, and our annual diocesan audit. Next slide. Let's take another quick look at this slide, which shows the allocation of our resources across our mission priorities as we just discussed. Next slide. I'd like to draw your attention to how our staff compensation is allocated across our various ministry areas. While the overall budget shows compensation and benefits at 55% of total expenditures, it's illuminating to see how our staff members actually distribute their time and efforts across different areas of our work. Canonical responsibilities account for the largest portion of staff allocation at 28.6%, reflecting the substantial administrative and coordinating work required to fill our obligations to the Episcopal Church and maintain our diocesan governance structures. Congregations and clergy support represents 23.7% of staff time, underscoring our commitment to walking alongside our parishes and clergy through transitions, formation, and ongoing ministry and administration, to include the centralized payroll program. Faith formation receives 20.1% of staff allocation, supporting our youth programs, Camp Bishopswood, and educational initiatives across the diocese. Justice and Outreach Ministries receive 15.6% of staff time, enabling our work in racial justice, climate advocacy, and community partnerships. Finally, 12.1% of staff allocation supports the operation and maintenance of the Loring House, which is our diocesan center. This illustrates the multifaceted nature of our staff's work and demonstrates that while individual staff members may have primary responsibilities, everyone contributes their time and talents across multiple dimensions of diocesan ministry, maximizing the value and impact of our personnel investments. Next slide. As we consider this budget, we give thanks for the faithful stewardship and generosity of our congregations and their members throughout the diocese. Our investments with the trustees of diocesan funds continue to provide strong support for the missional priorities discerned through our mission action plan. Our diocesan staff serve with dedication and excellence, providing exceptional value to the mission and the ministry of the diocese. By maintaining a balanced budget, we are exercising prudent financial stewardship that ensures resources will be available for future ministry. This budget will position us to respond faithfully to God's call while remaining fiscally responsible to those who have entrusted us with these resources. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Just curious as to what the Diocesan Council and Standing Committee expenses are.
For this year?
Well, you said that they were part of the budget for next year, so.
They are. You want to know how much is there for next year?
No, I want to know what kinds of expenses they are.
I think I can answer that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Diocesan Council meets 4 to 5 times a year. They've moved primarily to Zoom, but we used to also have an overnight. So in this past year, this line has stayed flat year to year. In this past year, we paid for the governing body's retreat out of that line, as well as an in-person meeting in Ellsworth, and I think we do probably still have some left over. That line also goes to mileage reimbursement requests and some hotel room requests if we get those, because people are traveling a far distance. And standing committee, I imagine, is much the same, although I don't have those details.
And no cost for them this year, Teresa.
Yeah.
Liz, does that help you?
It does, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Susan.
Is safety and security for Loring House and for churches covered under the term maintenance? I
So
didn't
we-
see it
Yeah,
as,
we have a small budget for our security system, which is paid paid quarterly. But we don't have a lot of other security in other ways.
what's covered by the current security system? Is it just things like fire sprinklers? Do you have
Fire sprinkler, we do have an alarm system, so our doors are alarmed. It's
And-
around $3,000 a year for the service contract that we have.
And what does that cover besides Loring House?
That's all that covers.
Are you looking at the possibility of grants to individual churches that need it to enhance security from things like shooters?
I can answer that. We are not. Last week, the clergy met in Newcastle, and we are very much aware that there are several congregations who are attending to this. Some have a perceived need that's higher than others. There are always loan programs available, or not always, but often. But there's currently not a grant program for security.
I can also say that if any churches have questions about security or the NSGP grant program through the government, I've been through that several times at my synagogue, and have gone through a lot of security training. So I'm happy to put together some materials and be a resource for you.
That's great, Sherry. Ted has a question. Ted Fletcher.
No, I don't have a question. I think Bishop Brown answered the question. I was curious to know where Susan Morse was coming from and what she was looking for, whether she was looking for resources. And I know that people are anxious about this, but at this point, there's no diocesan response as such. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
This is Peg from Trinity in Lewiston. I have 3 questions that all relate to compensation for leadership, staff, clergy, and deacons. And for staff, I'm hoping that there are I don't want to say this, thoughtful conversations about making sure that people feel adequately compensated for the work that they're doing in Loring House, and and how that happens, Second of all, clergy compensation, as I understand it, periodically that is reviewed in terms of comparing it to, well, a long time ago, it was comparing it to other vocations in the community, but I'm wondering if that gets updated at all. And the third one is deacons. If there's precedent in other dioceses in our national church where there's some compensation for deacons for their work with us.
So I can answer the questions for you about mooring house staff. The way that the numbers came about this time around is that I put together some preliminary numbers with cost of living raises, and then met with the bishop, and he made his changes. I would expect that next year also that Teresa will be involved in that as canon to the ordinary. And I know that the finance committee acted as the compensation committee this year. And the clergy compensation, I believe, stayed flat this year. Is that correct, Teresa?
Yes, it is correct. There have been no changes. There is a suggested cost of living adjustment within the explanation section of that resolution. So Peg, that's done every year. You may know, you've been around for a long time. So the minimum lay compensation is set each year by convention, as is the minimum priest compensation. And Aaron, could you answer the question about deacons?
Sure. Peg, thanks for the question. The notion of deacon compensation is an evolving conversation for sure, both here in the diocese and in the wider church. As you know, the Order of Deacons has historically been non-stipendiary, based in its servant ministry roots, but there's a lot of conversation happening right now, and I would expect that those conversations would continue, both here and in the wider church. I don't mean to be squishy and sort of
That's okay.
non-committal about that, but it really is something that is happening kind of right now, and we're kind of living into it.
Before we head to resolutions, I'd like to introduce a special guest we have tonight, and a special person in general. It is Jay Boggs. He is a consultant from Cornerstone Franciscan Ministries, and he has been helping us get our finance house in order, and especially helping with the trustees of diocesan funds. And so many of you may have emailed him, finance@episcopalmaine.org, or you may have had a conversation with him, but you haven't met him. And so, Jay, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here tonight?
Great. Thank you, Teresa. Hello, everyone. It's so great to be with you tonight. And I look forward to seeing many of you at convention, where I will be as well. So just a little background about myself. I am a third generation Irish immigrant into the Baltimore area. 38 years of marriage and 2 kids and 2 grandkids, and currently reside in Bethany Beach, Delaware, which is a small beach town that just went through a pretty major nor'easter. So we're doing pretty well here, but we don't have much of a beach left as a result of that. I am the executive director of what you heard, Cornerstone Franciscan Ministries. There are 20 of us at Cornerstone. Half of the team works on ministries that support various programs that help people who have instances of multi-generational poverty and various housing issues around the Baltimore, Washington area. And the other half of our ministry team works on what we call the Ministry of Administration. So we work with churches and dioceses in Episcopal and Lutheran denominations throughout the Eastern Seaboard. And we've been doing this since 2015. It's a unique ministry, but one that we believe so many people that are faithful members of our communities of love want to serve their church in this way. So we're super happy to be here in the Diocese of Maine and helping to support the great work that Sherry and Teresa and the entire diocesan team at Loring House do on your behalf. So if you have any questions for me, I'll see you at convention.
Thank you, Jay. We're very glad that you are here and that you are part of our team. Welcome. And thank you, Fred, for helping us do that.
All right, moving on. We are going to start with resolutions. I'd like to introduce the Reverend Tracy Schaefer. She is a deacon. She's at St. Dunstan's in Ellsworth and some of the MDI churches, and I can't remember which ones. Is it all of them, Tracy?
Yeah, they're all good. Yeah, church. I help out where I can at Church of Our Father, St. John's, and St. Saviour's in Bar Harbor.
Fantastic. And in addition to that and all the wonderful things she does in her community, she does a bang up job on resolutions.
But in addition to that, she also did a sojourn with St. Mary's in Northeast Harbor.
Fantastic. So yeah, she's pretty great. And she's going to walk us through our resolutions. She's going to talk about the canonical amendments first, which we will have some more time for on the floor of convention. So don't get hung up on that. We're just going to show you those titles. And then we're going to move on to the policy resolutions. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of the submitters this year. We've had a large year for resolutions. Last year and the year before, I think we had 3 to 4 resolutions. And this year we have 9. So if you picked your packet up online a little bit earlier, there is a resolution number 9, related to the Council on Indian Relations, and that's been withdrawn. So we will not be talking about that at convention. So we'll have 9 resolutions to vote on. As Teresa said, 5 of these are actually things we look at every year, and also they relate to business and organizational policy. Canons that are established for every diocese by each diocese spell out a lot of times how things operate, who is responsible for what. And so we have some catch up to do in our paperwork, and that's why we have some resolutions to look at this year beyond compensation. So your first 2 resolutions in this category are resolutions 3 and 4. This involves our minimum lay compensation and then minimum compensation for priests. The key word there is minimum. There's no, ceiling here that we're talking about. We're talking about the minimum compensation. $16 for lay compensation per hour. And then, as noted in your resolution, terms for the compensation for priests as well as supply priests. I don't know if I would just underscore that both of these have no financial change to them from the 2025 terms that were voted on, the 2 resolutions from last year. So these are just represented so that we, as this year's convention, can concur with these. Resolution 5 is prepared also by Julian Sheffield, and this has to do basically looking at Canon 18 and making sure that the canon expresses our current investment practices as practiced by our trustees related to the investments that the diocesan makes in the financial markets. So you'll have an opportunity to read through that and ask questions about it. But mainly it is trying to safeguard resources, as the trustees have been doing, from cryptocurrency and some of the other derivatives that have cropped up in the financial markets. Resolution number 6, and then the following resolution number 7 have to deal with the compensation and role and the roles in the diocesan council. So resolution 6 basically underscores or puts in the documentation how we're currently organized, which is the treasurer of the diocese is operating as the finance chair from the diocesan council. And accordingly, in the canon pertaining to the diocesan council, Canon 15, we're taking out the finance chair reference. So again, some catch up there. Resolution 7, we already talked about this if you're from the AKD region, but just a few minutes ago, but this is basically making parallel our officers as it pertains to the diocesan council. In addition to the treasurer attending and having a vote in the diocesan council, this resolution would make it so that the diocesan secretary formally is a member of the diocesan council and carries a vote. So those are our administrative business practices that are up for discussion and review. And I would just say this to safeguard our time at convention. As you're reading through those and thinking through those, if you have any follow-up questions to any of these, please get them to me and I'll get them to the right person for you. And we'll try to make sure that if there's any change or small or large consideration we need to have, that we give ourselves the next 2 weeks to help move that along if that makes sense. Okay. Now, the other thing that we do with our resolution space is that we look at policy outside of business practices. We are very pleased with the idea that we have a lot of thought going on in our ministries as we looked at from a budget perspective. Our ministries this year are very robust in that we have a new ministry to be concerned about. This is the foster care advocacy resolution. And I think Matt is on. And Matt, do you want to speak to this briefly?
Sure. This resolution is sponsored by the Church of St. Mary in Falmouth, and I'm a co-sponsor. And foster care and children in care is a particular Maine issue. We're one of the top, sadly, one of the top states for kids in foster care. I've never shared on a iPad, so I'm going to try and see if I can do this real quick. Here we go. I don't know if other people can see that. So this is the numbers for children in care as of February 2025. Sadly, as you can see, Kennebec, Androscoggin, Cumberland. What's that? Are you able to see this?
I think it was an errant mumble.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you can look. I'm going to stop sharing. But anyway, point being is I don't. Okay, go to application. So anyway, you can look up those numbers just look up on Google search Maine foster care numbers per county on a Google search, and it will bring up an image of the picture. This is a great need in the state of Maine. I'm not sure how much the church has paid attention to it throughout our time. I do not have the institutional knowledge of the Diocese of Maine to know if this has ever been brought up. What I can say is that just real quick, today I got an email. I'm a resource parent, and just in Cumberland district alone, there have needs for a 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 16 kids looking for homes in District 2 alone. That's Cumberland County alone looking for homes. And this is, yeah, so I am bringing this up to the diocese with Church of St. Mary, that hopefully during this time for the next year, liturgical year, we can ask for, we can pray, we can discern, and we can see what we can do about this. The resolution only asks for for a liturgical year for us to pray for the children. So from Christ the King Sunday this year to or Advent 1 this year to Christ the King Sunday, at every diocesan event, the encouragement is to pray for children in foster care and to ask for parishes in their own context how they can support children in foster care and their caregivers. I don't know if anyone has any questions to it, but the biggest thing is that I think we really just want to bring this issue to diocesan convention, that this is a particular Maine problem. It is very severe. And just real quick with the story, I was walking to the Public Health Nursing Division office. I have to go through OCFS, which is the Children of the Office of Child Protective Services. And as I'm walking through, there's a bruised up 18-month-old walking towards me, and so I see this every day. These children coming in and needing safe homes. So I'm hoping that the church will respond.
Okay, and I
Matthew?
have a comment here from Derek. This is lovely. Thank you for bringing it forward. Are there any other questions before we move to the next resolution?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Santo from St. Albans.
Hi.
Matthew, you mentioned at the top of your talk that the state of Maine is top state, but I didn't know what it was top state for. Did you say that, or did I mishear that?
Yeah, so we have some of the highest reported rates of child abuse in the brief explanation of the resolution. If you scroll down, brief explanation, it gives the statistics from reliable government resources on. I think we're one of the top four, the top one to the top four, depending on how the research is gathered. So, and rates, it's rates, not numbers, rates.
In the country or in the
nation, yeah.
Nation. Okay. Dang.
Child abuse and neglect, yep.
Thank you.
And you will find that brief explanation that Matthew just mentioned when you look at the full resolution, not on the screen here, but on the website and in the materials that we send.
Per capita.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you are doing any research on that, do make sure you're looking at rates per capita, because that is what pushes Maine up. You know, we're a very small population center in the state of Maine, but when you look at per capita, as Matthew said, we have a tremendous problem up here. And they're always looking for resources, and through prayer, we might be able to discern how we can help. Okay, the next resolution is Walking Together Diocesan Ministry. Some of you might have been involved in convention a few years ago where we put together a resolution within the diocese to establish a new ministry, and it was on evangelism. This is a similar situation in that this resolution is calling for the birth of a new ministry for us to work on, as well as for our diocesan staff and our prayers and resources. So this is looking to enlarge our social justice umbrella and include people who are currently in the margins, who are made vulnerable in very uncertain times right now, focusing on immigrants and LGBTQ siblings and others. And it mirrors, for me at least, some of the work our larger church is doing with the immigration calls and all of the social justice calls of action, and some of the things too that the Maine Council of Churches have happening. So I was not surprised to see this, and we were pleased to make sure that it was in order. And I don't know, Sarah is on. Sarah, did you want to say anything about your resolution right now?
Tracy, it should be Sam Allen.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Sam Allen. I jumped ahead. Sam?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for the introduction. I'll just say a few things from the explanation. Of course, we were moved by threats to the immigrant community, which at the cathedral, which is sponsoring this resolution, we have the St. Elizabeth's Jubilee Center that serves literally hundreds of clients per week. And we were very concerned that our clients would be, could be under threat. We were concerned that our food pantry clients would be losing, we would be losing to access to food that would come to our food pantry through lots of government funding for that in the state of Maine. And as we have in the explanation, we recognize that immigrants, LGBTQ+ siblings, and others who are vulnerable often live with fear, uncertainty, and discrimination. As followers of Jesus, we're called to walk not alone, but together, heeding the words of the African proverb, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk with others. Walk
Beautiful.
together embodies the call of Micah to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God by grounding its work in prayer, relationship building, advocacy, education, service. And we look forward to discussion of this at convention and hope prayerfully that the convention in its wisdom will adopt this resolution for
Thank you.
support by the diocese.
Thank you, Sam. Does anyone have a question or comment for Sam at this point?
Hey, Tracy, I had a quick question. This is Tom Hancock here. I just wanted clarification on the reference to LGBTQ+ siblings. Are you referring to all of us as brothers and sisters, or I'm just not sure what that siblings reference means?
Well, in my reading of the resolution, two of my colleagues from the cathedral authored this, and it was my interpretation that exactly as you said, that we are part of the human family, and we are a very diverse human family. So to refer to these folks as siblings seems to be a form of deep respect.
That's a great question and a great point, because we are looking at gender affirmative language. And rather than calling people brothers and sisters, you'll often see siblings mentioned now. So thank you for that, Sam, and thank you, Tom, for the question.
Tracy, I had a question from St. George's Sanford, Tim Higgins here in Sanford. I wonder if by the writers of the resolution, if another category could be added, and if that is something that, you know, offline would need to discuss with folks. So, and I'm thinking about the unhoused that several of our congregations work with on a regular basis. Could that be in addition to the unhoused and others, and be it further resolved, etc.? You know, is that a direction that the resolution writers are, you know, interested potentially in pursuing as well? I'd be very happy to talk offline about that if need be as well.
You bet. Yeah, if you want to get with Sam offline, it certainly fits within the spirit of the resolution, looking for people on the margins. I know a similar question came up in committee about those living in food insecurity, which is similar to your unhoused population too. They're, you know, not identical, of course, but same type of concerns, socioeconomic concerns.
And of course, a huge fraction of our clients at both the food pantry and St. Elizabeth's are not a huge fraction, but a significant number of our clients are unhoused.
I bet they are. Mhm.
And
That's right.
so it fits in my view. We'll take this back to the
Okay.
authors, but it fits very nicely. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Is siblings a more compassionate or empathetic substitute for allies?
No, I have never heard it as that. This is Amy Barrier, St. Pat's and Brewer. I am wondering also about the word siblings. And it's an
Hello?
it's a word that I've never really heard said before. And so I think it's a great word to include everybody. It's an interesting word. And so I wonder if there's something, if you, and Sam, I'm asking you because y'all brought the resolution. Did y'all look at just doing LGBTQ plus communities or community? Was it just the inclusion of everybody together that y'all wanted to grasp?
I can't answer that because I
Okay.
wasn't part of that direct process. But it seems to me, in thinking about it and looking at the text right now, it seems to be we might have put in brothers and sisters. Okay, I think one would have been surprised at that.
I understand brothers and sisters
And-
wanting to include the non-binary community and trying to
Yeah,
find
it's
something more
gender neutral.
inclusive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was just wondering, the other thing that I wanted to add is, and others, maybe putting other marginalized neighbors, just to finish that thought out.
I like it. I like the suggestion.
Okay.
Sibling,
All right.
I found a little confusing initially. I thought it referred to hardship and stress and threat to actual family members. So I think that's
Mhm.
the
So-
language can be confusing.
Okay, this is good feedback, and Sam, you're capturing this as far as the wording sibling and seeing if there might be either a point of explanation or a better phrase for that.
And
So,
unhoused.
oh, I'm sorry, this isn't Sam. This is, yeah, no, it is Sam. Okay, I was looking at the submitter who's Angel. All right, so please take that back and Sam, reach out if we've got a revision, and we'll get that on the line for people to look at prior to convention. Good discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. The last two resolutions we have take us outside the walls of our church and look at the balloting that's taking place statewide this November. We have two referendum questions that are on our state ballot, and we have a resolution speaking to each one. The next one, or the first one we look at, is the Preserving Voter Access Resolution number 10. And Sarah is with us, I believe. One thing I would just say as something we can get out in addition is the precise language for question 1 and question 2 as it's currently noted on our ballots. It's incredibly important that both of these questions be read in their entirety at the ballot box as well as in our conversation. So Canon Teresa, that's something maybe we can get out. It's now public knowledge and the absentee ballots are out. So let me go to Sarah and see if she has any comments about this.
Yes, so this resolution urges Episcopalians in Maine to vote no on question number 1. It's kind of colloquially called the voter ID law. but it involves a whole lot more than just voter ID. There are actually 28 different sections of the law that would change, many of them very technical. But I think the main problems to this law are that it would disenfranchise especially certain populations, the elderly who have trouble getting to polling places, rural Mainers, disabled persons. And Maine is among the top 2 states in the percentage of eligible voters who vote. And we also have a very secure voting system. So this bill really, the referendum, voter ID referendum issue is really affixed to a problem we don't have. More than 40% of Mainers used absentee voting last year, and 62% of those were over the age of 65. So if this law were passed, it would really have devastating effects on the ability of our older and disabled and rural Mainers to vote. And one other thing I wanted to say is that the text of this bill came from an out-of-state organization that is trying to get this kind of bill passed in many different states. And so we're just urging people to vote no because it disenfranchises God's children from exercising their political right to vote. Thank you.
So if we vote off, oh, Ted, you have your hand up.
I would simply add to what Sarah said by saying that it particularly affects women who change their name in marriage and whose various documentations don't always line up with their last name. And so it affects particular people, including women. Usually men don't change their name to their wives, unlike Spanish countries.
And also, it does not accept tribal ID.
Well, that's another piece of it. So it's a mess.
It franchises indigenous people.
Okay, thank you. So let's pay attention also to our resolution language in terms of when we vote for this. If we vote in the affirmative, then what we would be telling our, the diocesan staff and ourselves coming out of convention is to carry this message that this is a very expansive piece of legislation. It goes beyond just an ID card, and to be on the lookout and to campaign against this, basically to speak out against this. Okay, anybody else have any comments? Okay, thank you very, very much there.
You're welcome.
And the last resolution we have is on, again, another question on our ballot in support of this extreme risk protection order, often referred to as a red flag type of legislation or law having to do with guns and gun security. And we have with us Reverend Benjamin Cook, who submitted this resolution. And let's ask him if he wanted to make a comment on this.
I can talk briefly to it. So coming from the UK, where gun crime is very minimal, gun crime in the US continues to be very shocking to me. And it's striking that despite a lot of hard work and effort on the part of many Americans, gun crime continues to be a problem. One factor that's often overlooked is that while deaths by gun have decreased in the last couple of years, the rate of suicide by firearms continues to increase. So in Maine, in a state where we have a substantial amount of people who have mental illness and do not have access to psychiatric help, because we just have a complete lack of services here, well, not a very low rate of access to services. The presence of guns is a great risk to people. This referendum seeks to try and introduce a red flag law that would enable families who are worried about individuals to have their firearms temporarily removed from them until we can find out if people are safe. It's just aimed at keeping people safe and does not seek to infringe on people's rights. Mostly seeks to enable them to the right to life by removing their things that can be a danger to them at their times when they have their greatest struggles. So if we vote for this, it would be encouraging all of our churches to support this referendum. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
The language of this you will see on your ballot is brief enough I can share it. Do you want to allow courts to temporarily prohibit a person from having dangerous weapons if law enforcement, family, or household members show that the person poses a significant danger of causing physical injury to themselves or others? And yes, voting yes on this would enact that law. And give this tool to our society here in Maine. Voting no, things would stay as they are, which we have yellow flag parameters right now. Anybody have any comments on this or questions for Benjamin? Thank you, Ben. Anybody? Okay. Teresa, if nothing else,
one second.
Yes. Okay.
1 second. In our breakout group, there was mention that there's expectation that some of these resolutions will be controversial at convention. And I am wondering how that would be shepherded.
Well, we've yes, in our past we've had avid pro and con discussion for resolutions, and that is handled by the chair of the convention. In our case, it's Bishop Brown, and you would find that we would have floor time to take positive and also opposing views. Also, people can submit an amendment and vote on the amendment and then vote on the resolution itself. So we have the vehicles in place and our Robert's Rules of Order and our chancellor in place, our secretary of the diocese. So we're ready for those conversations and those are welcomed. I think that it remains to be seen, how much solidarity we have going into this. And none of us know for sure, but certainly these two resolutions are prone or potential discussion items simply because they're in the public forum right now. We're voting on these in less than a month, if my calendar's right. So I think that if you're hearing that might be them just making those assumptions that, these are controversial items in the marketplace. So in our communities. So we could see that mirrored in our discussion as a church.
Tracy?
It's reassuring to hear that.
Sure. Yes.
The leadership of gun safety, safe schools, safe communities, gun safety in Maine, are concerned that although there has been a lot of support in surveys, 70% of the population saying that the red flag law is a good thing. They're aware and alarmed by the fact that a lot of people don't even know that this is on the ballot. So as far as getting knowledge out there, and it's not as if the law enforcement, Army or Sheriff's Office, can simply go and pick somebody up and take this straight path to the court. There are all kinds of things like mental evaluations that take time and give someone less help and could have helped with Lewiston. So I think there's a lot that people don't know.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, all of us as individuals, as we're looking at our resolution, can help in the effort to get, drum up interest. And also forums upcoming. The Secretary of State just released the voter guide for these referendums. But it's certainly incumbent on all of us to get out and share this information. Okay, anything else? Before I do turn it over to Teresa. Well, yes.
I'm sorry, my hand was up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth.
No worries, no worries. Resolution number 5, which seeks to ban cryptocurrencies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The trustees already have investment policy statement that bans cryptocurrencies and so forth. And I guess my only concern, I mean, it all sounds good on paper. My only concern is, as we go out into the future, that things might arise that might have a cryptocurrency in it, that if we had this kind of resolution, it could prevent us from investing in Coca-Cola, for example, or some other company. It's sort of like we had this resolution that you couldn't invest in a company that manufactures or sells tobacco. Well, CVS sells tobacco, Hannaford sells tobacco. So my concern about that resolution is that I can't visualize it right now what the problem might be, but that it might be better kept in our investment policy statement where we can evaluate it, rather than be this carte blanche prohibition that might conceivably turn to be problematic.
Okay, that's a fair point, I think. And Julian, did you want to speak to that question?
I'm happy to speak to that question.
Thank you, Julian.
The overall purpose of this of the change, the canonical change in the resolution, is to do two things, 2 or 3 things. One is, in fact, to first of all to note that there's a requirement that to invest in anything but a bank, basically a bank, or the trustees, the parish must get permission from the finance committee. And so the first thing that we decided to do with this was to expand. Obviously, a great many parishes invest in things other than banks and the trustees, as in they invest with fiduciary investment companies. So a great many parishes are in breach of this canon. And we felt that if we included fiduciary companies in this canon, that that would make that breach go away. In other words, all these parishes who are investing with Edward Jones and other places like that would be doing so without breaching the need for special permission, which in my tenure at least, we have never been asked for from any parish. So that was the first thing. The second thing was to help parishes get over allergies to the word audit, and specifically to help them understand that that the canon, it says that parishes have to have audits, and we say the parish, the diocesan guidelines say that the parishes need to follow the diocesan guidelines. So it seemed better for everybody to change the wording slightly in this canon so that people understand that internal reviews and peer reviews are also part of the potential audit, really review, not audit process, examination. So those were two things in there.
Madam Treasurer, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to suggest that you and Liz take this discussion offline because Liz is asking about a different resolution. She's asking about the one that will change the method of business affairs, and you were speaking about the one related.
It's all Bishop,
in
it's
the
all in
same.
the same resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's all the same resolution. So the third thing there
just to
was
cut it off. Can I just?
Okay,
this is only applying to churches. It's not applying to the trustees.
Yeah, and that's a
right.
great,
Okay,
this is this is a very important clarification because among some of us, this has been shorthanded a little bit, and we need to look at the detail of this resolution. The current view of Canon 18. Canon 18 starts off by saying, in every parish, mission, and institution connected with this diocese, the following standard business methods shall be observed. And then it talks immediately about the securities.
Okay.
So, Liz, I think hearing that, your concern is probably addressed there. It's more an outward looking canon to direct the
I'll take
parishes.
it offline with Julian.
Okay, thank you for that.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tracy, so much.
Thank you.
Being so organized and so knowledgeable about all of this.
I do want to thank our committee, Tom Moosen, Betsy York, Marge Kilkelly, John Hennessy, and yourself, Teresa. Thank you for all your support and help, everybody. And thank you again to the submitters.
Thank you. We are right up against it on time. So the next part of our agenda, it was going to be a little word from our Chancellor, Gordon Geyer, about the rules of order. We're going to move that to Convention Day. And then the next part was a little voting procedure tutorial from me, which I promised to make a video of for anybody who would like to watch that at a later date. And we'll just move right to prayer if we could. Oh, Bishop Brown, please.
You can and Penny. So friends, Teresa's going to make this video and I want to ask you to watch it. And the reason I want you to watch it is because the more prepared we can be to use the technology that we have on Saturday, the better work we will do. So it's going to be hard for us to respond to 200 people who did not watch the video. So Teresa's going to send this to you, and I would love for you to take the few minutes that it will require so that we all, and I will make this pledge too, I promise to watch the video, Ken and Penny. I promise, promise, promise. If we can make that pledge, it will make Saturday the 25th go a whole lot better. Thank you so much. Over, back to you.
Thank you. Well, I was going to turn it to you anyway to introduce your lovely liturgical commission and the Reverend Katie Holicky, who is going to pray tonight.
Thank you so much. The Assistant Rector at St. Paul's, Brunswick, you're on.
Thank you, Bishop. Friends, I invite us to settle into the spirit of prayer with a deep breath, trusting and knowing that we are all beloved children of God. John Ott, a parishioner at St. Paul's, Brunswick, will be our respondent this evening, and Pat Ryan, also a parishioner at St. Paul's, will be our reader. Stay with us, Christ, for it is evening.
Make your church bright with your radiance.
Light of the world, and grace and beauty, mirror of God's eternal face, transparent flame of love's free duty, you bring salvation to our race. Now, as we see the lights of evening, we raise our voice in hymn and praise. Worthy of you are of endless blessing, sun of our night, lamp of our days. Yours is the day, O God. Yours is also the night. You established the moon and the sun. Psalm 134. Behold now, bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord.
You that stand by night in the house of the Lord.
Lift up your hands in the holy place and bless the Lord.
The Lord who made heaven and earth, bless you out of Zion. Yours is the day, O God, yours also the night. You established the moon and the sun.
From Corinthians chapter 4, verses 5 to 6. For we do not proclaim ourselves. We proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your slaves for Jesus' sake. For it is the same God who said, "Light will shine out of darkness," who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. Hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches.
Thanks be to God. Canticle, a song of our true nature, Julian of Norwich.
Christ revealed our frailty and our falling.
Our trespasses and our humiliations.
Christ also revealed his blessed power.
His blessed wisdom and love.
He protects us as tenderly and as sweetly when we are in greatest need.
He raises us in spirit and turns everything to glory and joy without ending.
God is the ground and the substance, the very essence of nature.
God is the true Father and Mother of natures.
We are all bound to God by nature.
And we are all bound to God by grace.
And this grace is for all the world.
Because it is our precious Mother Christ.
For this fair nature was prepared by Christ, for the honor and nobility of all.
And for the joy and bliss of salvation. Prayers.
Hear our prayers, O Christ our God.
Hear us, O Christ.
Govern and direct your holy church, fill it with love and truth, and grant it that unity which is your will.
Hear us, O Christ.
Give us boldness to preach the gospel in all the world, and to make disciples of all the nations.
Hear us, O Christ.
Enlighten your bishops, priests, and deacons, especially those in the Diocese of Maine, with knowledge and understanding, that by their teaching and their lives they may proclaim your word.
Hear us, O Christ.
Give your people grace to witness to your word and bring forth the fruit of your Spirit.
Hear us, O Christ. Blessing.
Live without fear. Your Creator has made you holy, has always protected you, and loves you as a mother. Go in peace to follow the good road, and may God's blessing be with you always.